DICE came out with a blog post on the class changes that they're making, or the changes that they're making to the class system. And I wanted to go over that today before we get into gameplay and give my thoughts, because I did watch Level Cap's video on it. I have thoughts, but I don't recall all the details, so I'd like to go over those details now and then give my thoughts, because I'm actually making this into a video, strangely enough. I don't normally do this, but I thought it was a pretty good reason. Dev notes: return to the class system. Should have never left the class system. In-depth look into the journey of returning to the class system at Battlefield 2042. Hello there. Hello. Today we're here to discuss the upcoming changes taking place with the return of the class system, or to the class system, and to go in depth on the improvements arriving with update 3.2 later this month. Specialists at launch were polarizing to some of our players, with feedback particularly around the loss of class identity. I'm just going to double check my mic real quick. I'm pretty sure it is working, but we'll see. Check 1, 2. Okay, yeah, we're good. And a shift from similar gameplay flow that you were used to. Similar. We heard that feedback and immediately began... Yeah, you heard it a year and a half later. And immediately began constructing a team to analyze it and put a plan together to determine next steps. Here's a look back through the journey that the team has traveled. Early on, the team analyzed the feedback from you all and outlined the changes that we felt were necessary to improve the overall experience of moment-to-moment gameplay through the role of classes. The suggestions that we made were validated by your response to our core feedback initiative, through which we held an open dialogue with you. As our team began implementing these changes, we invited a group of players from a variety of backgrounds, disciplines, and platforms across Battlefield to partake in feedback sessions. This allowed for continuous and open dialogue and ensured that there was a constant flow of information around a substantial change coming to Battlefield 2042. After multiple iterations of design improvements on class gameplay, we gathered that very same group of players along with more participants to play our latest build. The latest changes were received positively from the group, but they also told us some aspects were still lacking. Readability of encounters, ensuring that you're able to recognize the class and potential loadout scenarios that they may be carrying. Improve the sense of role. The changes were a great foundation to reintroduce the class gameplay to Battlefield 2042. However, weapons needed to be included into this in some way. So, essentially, I think what they're saying there is weapons needed to be limited to certain classes, which is what they used to do in the past. Taking on board that final round of feedback, further changes and improvements were made, such as weapon proficiencies, which we will detail later on in this blog. I hope this isn't really a long blog, but then again, who knows? But before we go into this, we want to state that your voice and thoughts have flowed through the entirety of this process, and it's a testament to how we continuously strive to make improvements for you, both big and small, by maintaining an open dialogue with you. Thank you to every single one of you that shared your feedback and time with us. I feel like I should start doing stuff like this, getting into their initiatives or whatever. Hey, Chris. Getting into their initiatives or whatever. Giving my feedback. Meta, choice, and balance. The return to the class system will shake up how you are used to playing Battlefield 2042, from gadgets and equipment now being attached to the class of your particular choosing, to how you're approaching the role of that class as you play throughout your matches. With gadgets, previously every specialist being able to choose from an open pool led to a lot of freedom and choice, but that came at the cost of balance in some parts of the game when that freedom is extended outwards to the entire team. No shit. I'm pretty sure that's what we said in the beta. Not only, and probably the alpha, Not only was min-maxing becoming prevalent as the way to play, with sentiment often showing that it's better to just reach for the same loadouts and the best combination available and stick with it, but also with balancing of gadgets towards other aspects of Battlefield, such as vehicular gameplay. To provide you with an example, prior to these changes taking place, every specialist had the ability to use a rocket launcher of some kind. There was only two. I don't know why they say of some kind, a rocket launcher or a Stinger. Which is technically a rocket launcher, but it is a ground-to-air missile, so it's not really a rocket. In that respect, I guess. This means that if there's a scenario where everyone can use a rocket launcher, we have to ensure that things are appropriately balanced for that type of situation. Rocket launchers can be placed within the engineer class will not. Oh, rocket launchers being placed under. Why is they saying under within? Rocket launchers being placed within the engineer class will now ensure that while only a subset of our specialists will be able to use rocket launchers, there will be more readability to who is carrying a launcher and allows for a vehicle player to adjust their strategy for that, but also allows for further balancing for vehicles as time goes on. While we're on the subject of rocket launchers, however, we do wish to note that while Liz is an engineer, she will continue to be unable to use alternate rocket launchers as she is already equipped with the G84 TGM specialty. Totally makes sense though. For her to equip 2 rocket launchers would be kind of ridiculous. If you're fond of playing as Liz, you can still select from the AT Mine, EOD Bot, or C5 explosives as your gadget. We have introduced some limitations in the class gadget reshuffle, but we believe that the changes we are making will address some of the balancing feedback that we've been receiving from you while also opening up for new loadout and meta scenarios. With all the changes that we're introducing with the return to the class system, it should now feel much better to perform the class and role as it was originally intended to be, and as you are used to doing so from previous Battlefield titles. It never should have gone away from the class system in the first place. They were chasing trends. They knew that they screwed up. I don't know why they don't just admit it, and then we can all move on. That's really all it is. All we want to hear from you is that, sorry, we screwed up. We're going back to the class system. That's it. This is such a huge amount of words to say we're sorry. That's all it is. It's a we're sorry that's padded with a bunch of big words. Going in as an engineer, your job is to deal with vehicles at any distance, fortify spaces, and ensure your team's vehicles are stocked up with repairs. So, obviously, engineer now. Actually, no, I think in previous games, engineer was the one with the rocket launcher. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure. But I found out earlier, and this is probably gonna get to it, engineer is now also the light machine gun guy. Like, that doesn't make any sense either. Assault, you're actively deciding to engage on the front lines, taking the fight directly to the enemy through up close and personal combat, while also providing brute forced openings for your team to push up right behind you. If you're inclined to assist your teammates through more direct means, then support may be the choice for you, as you're tasked with the resupplying of ammo and ensuring your squad gets back in the fight as quickly as possible through reviving. So that's another large discrepancy for me. So with Battlefield, I have always associated the support class with light machine guns and ammo boxes, and then C4 or whatever. But ammo boxes and light machine guns, that's what the support class was. And then the medic was the assault class. Now the support class has domination, has can choose either the med box or the ammo box, from what I understand. And it doesn't make sense to me. It never did. So now it's one class that gets to do either medic or ammo. Whereas before it was the assault class had the meds, the support class had the ammo. Now they're just putting it on one. Like that. That's stupid. Now you've literally set it to just one class. That doesn't really help. So now everybody's just gonna be playing that one class. You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be, the majority of players are probably gonna be Assault, which I heard is getting triple the amount of ammo. They're getting like 3 more mags or whatever worth of ammo, which is ridiculous. Because they won't have any means to resupply themselves, so they'll, you know, like guys like McKay, he'll just go up somewhere and he'll have this massive amount of ammo that he can just rain hellfire down on top of people with. So people will play probably the Assault class, which has the rockets, or no, maybe the Engineer. Anyway, people will probably play the Assault class and the Support class, and then Sniper and Engineer are going to be kind of like left by the wayside, unless of course people really love their vehicles, and you know they do. So that's my I'm predicting that's going to happen, that Assault and Support are going to be the 2 main classes that everybody's going to be playing, unless you really like sniping or you really want to try and take out vehicles or repair vehicles or whatever, instead of actually, like, I said this before, this is not going to change the way people play the game. There's not going to be more team orientation here. People are just going to play whatever they want. You'll have a whole squad that's just full of engineers, and they'll just be looking to the rest of their team to hopefully, maybe, be able to revive them when they go down or something like that. It's stupid. And I still think that they need to make sure that it is restricted per squad. You can only have 1 of each class per squad. You know, if we take a typical 64 player match, that's 32 players on one side, that's 8 teams of 4. Each squad should only be allowed 1 class. That's it. And I know people don't like that because, oh, we're being told how to play the game. I can't play the class that I want to play. Too bad. All right? Too bad. Then make your own squad if there aren't, you know, if it's not filled up already. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right. Moving on. Finally, if you're looking to avoid direct confrontation, you may be interested in Recon. They prefer to utilize vantage points to the best of their capabilities to detect enemy presence and immediate threats, while also working to find backdoor opportunities for their squad with sneaky spawn beacon placements. So that pretty much won't change. Most people are doing that anyway, but it, you know, nothing's relegated to a specific class, so not yet. It will be. Freedom and flexibility still play a major role in Battlefield 2042. Not. With the choices you make now directly impacting your ability and efficiency on the field. Your choice is now your role. Know what you need. With the specialists now moving into specific classes, which technically they already are in classes, it should be easier to determine what you're about to come up against during an encounter. As an example, with Irish moving from engineer to the support role, no. Wrong. He should be an engineer. He should stay as an engineer because it makes sense. You will now be able to understand that if you encounter him on the field, he may be running with an ammo crate, health crate, smoke launcher, or claymores. That's right, claymores are coming back too. I forgot about that. Whilst also having the ability to revive anyone in the field rather than only your squad mates. This in turn works for the enemy, as they'll know to prioritize taking down the support player first to prevent their team from staying in the fight through revives. We have also included class icons above all soldiers, allowing for more transparency on who you're up against. Keep those eyes peeled. See, I just don't understand that. I guess that makes sense, but at the same time, shouldn't you just... They wouldn't need the icons above the head if they didn't come up with specialists. If the specialists didn't exist, they wouldn't need this. Because if the classes looked distinctly different from each other, like it used to, it's pretty easy. to tell who's who just by looking at them. You don't need a class icon above their head. So it's another concession that they had to make for the system that they so fervently want to keep. It's so stupid. Just get rid of the specialists and don't do it ever again. So dumb. Weapon proficiencies. Now this is what I was talking about earlier. Weapon proficiencies is a concept that came directly from our core feedback player sessions with some of you. Only some of us, not all of us. Some elements of feedback that was highlighted. Some elements of feedback that were highlighted. Who proofread these? These are professionals, allegedly. Nobody proofread this? That were highlighted to us was around considerations for weaponry fitting into the overall changes being made and what improvements can be established to ensure they fit into a class structure. It is our belief that weapons remaining open to all classes and specialists is the right choice for Battlefield 2042. No. No. I'm sorry, I don't agree. Previous Battlefield titles sometimes had systems that involved limiting weapon archetypes to only one class, such as Assault, only having the ability to use assault rifles. Yes, but they had subclasses like carbines and shotguns, utility weapons that anybody could use. So why not just do that again, like people liked? Or Recon only being able to use snipers and marksman rifles, and this is not something we intend for this title due to the complexities involved with progression. Lie. You just don't want to do it because it's too much work. Instead, weapon proficiencies exist to encourage you to use a certain weapon archetype with a class role that you'd expect to see a synergy between. So assault plus assault rifles equals 3 extra magazines. Engineer plus LMG, improved dispersion while crouched or prone. Support plus SMG, see they flipped the engineer and support weapons, faster draw time, recon and sniper rifles immediate, constant, and steady scope. Nobody's going to question that assault uses assault rifles and recon uses sniper rifles. Why they feel the need to flip the engineer and support, I'll never understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Engineer always had the PDWs, or SMGs in this case. Always. Support always had LMGs, and now they've just flipped the two for some reason. So what I'm getting from this is you can still use any weapon with any class, it doesn't matter. But if you want the bonus basically is what this is. This is the weapon bonus, weapon class bonus. Then you need to use these weapons with these classes. They're just trying to encourage you. Oh, you know, you want the bonus, you got to use LMGs with the engineer. So I could still play a support with an LMG if I want to. At least that's good. I still hate this. So if I play support with an LMG, I get no bonus. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. The intent of weapon proficiencies is not to dictate what you equip yourself with, but rather to encourage and provide a recommendation of what may work best and bring further class identity for those who enjoy that type of gameplay. What? No! No, it doesn't. It literally dictates what you equip. It's basically like if you don't use these two together, you're getting no bonus anything. You get nothing out of it, except just a pain in the ass. In doing so, you'll benefit from a passive improvement that should make your role more proficient. Well, you swap the roles, so it doesn't make sense. Unifying your loadout. As part of the overall changes taking place with the return of classes to Battlefield 2042, we are also changing how loadouts function within the game. Loadouts will now be unified per class. This means that if you were to alter your choice of weaponry, class gadgets, or throwables for Crawford within your loadout, then that same selection will be available to you when you choose to play as Boris, as both are engineers. Isn't that how it is now? Like, the loadout that you choose is separate from the specialist, so when update 3.2 arrives, you'll find that your current loadouts have been reset to their default status. Great, so now I have to redo it. So you can focus on rebuilding them specific for each class. I already did. I did that since the very beginning of this game. But this whole thing right here sounds like what it already does. You're already playing a specialist that you want to play, and the loadout stays the same between any specialist that you choose, so it's not really any different. What's next? That's a wrap today. Hope enjoyed learning about the journey we've taken and reading through the changes. This isn't the end of the work for this particular feature, and we'll continue blah 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 blah. Okay. Well, this is my feedback. It's all sucks. It all is stupid. Like, you flip-flop the engineer and support weapons, or you haven't, but you're trying to push for people to play certain classes and weapons together, which is stupid. So you're influencing people's choice. Okay, you give them full choice at the beginning, and now you're just looking to influence it. And you're also you're literally making no sense with any of this. And I still think that Dozer should be a support guy and Irish should be a engineer, just because it works that way, in my opinion. That's just the way it looks to me. But I don't know. This doesn't really make sense to me. I'm glad that among all the crappy decisions they just made with this, that they're still allowing any class to use any weapon. As far as I read, that's what's happening. So I can still play support with an LMG, but I don't like that idea. I think that weapon classes should be determined on which character class you choose, like it's always been, so that way there is the potential of variety. But instead, you know what people are going to do? They're just going to run with the best weapons that they know, and it's not going to be any different than if the way the game is now, where people run whoever they want because they like their class ability or something, or specialist ability, and they'll just use the weapons and gadgets that they want. Now, again, gadgets are definitely restricted to certain classes, but it doesn't stop people from using the weapons that they want. So, you know, whatever. I don't particularly care for the changes. I think it's the wrong way to go, as always. But they said it's ever changing, so we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna try and figure out a way to give my feedback about this, because it's stupid. But this is partial of my feedback. But if they got a forums or something, I'm gonna say something this time.